You ever get a ticket so ridiculous it makes you laugh? Then the laugh kind of sticks in your throat because you realize someone's actually serious about it? That was me Saturday morning, sun shining, birds chirping, and a bright red DULA 250 citation flapping under my windshield like a threat from the universe. Violation: unauthorized street parking. In front of my own driveway. On a street I quite literally built. My name's Wes. I'm a civil engineer and founder of the development firm that built the Glenwood Hills Phase 3 project: roads, sidewalks, drainage, the whole shebang. I've lived here for 6 years now, and while I knew the HOA could be picky, I didn't think they'd come for me with a fine like I was just some careless tenant. I thought it was a prank at first, maybe one of the guys from my old crew pulling a late April Fool's joke. But then I saw the other tickets. Dozens of them, marching down the block like angry red flags, and all pinned to cars belonging to homeowners who'd recently voiced complaints in the last HOA meeting. And that's when I saw her. Pamela Bickford, HOA president. Blonde curls so tight they looked like springs ready to snap, oversized sunglasses, and a clipboard she wielded like a scepter. She strutted past the line of cars, lips pursed in smug satisfaction, and when she locked eyes with Mesh smirked. That smirk told me everything. She didn't recognize me. Not as the builder. Not as the guy who still holds residual rights over the street she's now trying to regulate. She just saw another name on her list. I stared at the ticket, feeling this weird mix of rage and amusement. Then her cousin, Dig, self-appointed compliance officer, came waddling up, chest puffed like a mall cop with a grudge. He pointed at my truck like he was calling in an airstrike. "Can't park here, sir. Glenwood bylaws. 3-hour limit on public streets." I took a breath, slow and deep, because I hadn't even finished my coffee yet. "Doug," I said, "I live here." Pamela stepped in like she was casting a spell. "It's nothing personal, Wes. We're just upholding standards. There's a form you can fill out if you'd like an exemption, but the board will need to re-VYEW it. Translation: beg us for the right to use the curb your tax dollars paved." I didn't say a word, just turned around and went back inside. My sister Rachel had just moved in temporarily nasty divorce, needed some breathing room. She was at the kitchen island, cereal bowl in hand, and when I told her what happened, she spit out a mouthful of milk laughing. "What's next?" she said. "A fine for standing on your own porch too long?" She didn't even know the half of it. I went down to my home office and started digging. Old files, contracts, permits, development agreements, everything from the original build-out of Glenwood Phase 3. And there it was, buried in a transfer clause. Limited easement rights retained by the developer until street maturity, still 3 years away. In plain English, I still had authority over the roads. Legally, I made a few quiet calls to a city planner I used to fish with and a municipal attorney who owed me a favor. They confirmed what I suspected: the HOA had overstepped. That afternoon, I walked the block, making small talk with neighbors, casually asking about their tickets. Most thought it was a new city ordinance. One woman said she cried when she got hers. Another thought she'd lose her job if she didn't move her car during work hours. Rachel followed me with her phone, filming bits here and there, mostly for fun, but I told her, "Keep the footage. We might need it." She labeled one clip "Doug the Badge" and caught him measuring a neighbor's lawn with a tape measure that looked like it came from a dollar store. We laughed until Doug tripped over a sprinkler head and almost face-planted. I admit I snorted. Next morning, Pamela sent a second ticket by email. This one came with a warning about legal action for non-payment. I replied with a scanned copy of the contract, circled the development clause, and wrote, "You may want to read this before you threaten me again." She didn't respond directly. Instead, she posted a community newsletter titled CIVYC Pride and Compliance, with a section vaguely threatening certain indie VY duels for undermining neighborhood standards. That's when it got personal. I ordered updated copies of every HOA regulation, cross-checked it against city maps, zoning laws, public infrastructure records. And the kicker? The roads, sidewalks, and gutters weren't technically HOA property. My firm had leased them back to the city under a deferred maturity clause. If I wanted to dig up the asphalt tomorrow, I could. Legally, they couldn't stop me. So I filed for a routine inspection, legit, documented, permitted, planted bright orange cones at the end of the street, and stuck a laminated sign on the community mailbox. Scheduled infrastructure evaluation. Do not interfere. Cue the chaos. Pamela stormed over in a frenzy, Doug flapping behind her like a startled duck. What are you doing? She snapped. Just inspecting infrastructure I still own, I said, handing her a folder with stamped permits. You want to escalate? I can request a temporary road closure for 2 weeks. Might delay your annual HOA potluck. Doug looked pale. Pamela threatened to call the mayor. Please do, I said. He's got a tennis court I built. We go back. That night, Rachel and I toasted with pizza. She dubbed it Operation Asphalt Revenge. Next morning, a flatbed truck rolled into the cul-de-sac. My inspection team arrived in full gear vests, drones, clipboards, radar scanners. Neighbors came out like it was a block party. Some pulled out lawn chairs. One guy brought popcorn. Pamela came charging down, barking about unauthorized active UI tie. I told her flatly, you'd know better if you read the fine print. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Doug tried to stop us. I handed him a thick stack of permits. He squinted like the stamps hurt his brain. Rachel filmed the whole thing. Her video, HOA Karen versus Road Guy, blew up on Reddit. People started reaching out sharing their own horror stories. One woman said she'd been fined law $300 for a garden gnome. Another for drying beach towels on a railing. Then came the emergency HOA meeting. I showed up with binders, maps, contracts. Pamela tried to rally the room with talk about neighborhood integrity. I raised my hand, walked to the front, and laid out every document proving she had no legal ground to enforce those tickets. Then Rachel stood up from the back and shouted, "Let him finish." Applause. Real applause. The next day, barricades appeared at the end of my driveway. Laminated signs read, "Construction zone. No access. HOA approved." We laughed, then called the city. A municipal officer showed up, asked 2 questions, and ordered everything removed. Then he handed Pamela a formal warning for obstruction. I don't think she'd ever been written up before. She looked like someone had unplugged her ego. Rachel uploaded a new video complete with dramatic music. She called it Karen's Last Stand. A week later, we held a community town hall, no HOA involvement. 60 people showed up. We explained the real ownership situation. We handed out copies of invalid citations. People started chanting, "Vote her out." By the next HOA election, Pamela was gone. Rachel was voted onto the new board. The new leadership refunded wrongful fines, simplified the bylaws, and launched a community garden program. Then one morning, I walked outside and saw a brand new street sign installed at the corner. Harlan Way. Not my idea. It was a petition, community's way of saying thank you. I looked at it, hand in my pocket, coffee in the other, and just smiled. Not because I'd won, but because people finally saw what happens when you push back, not with shouting or fists, but with facts, contracts, and a little bit of quiet fury. Drop a comment below if you've ever had to deal with an HOA overreach, or if you think there should be limits to what these boards can enforce. And if you're facing your own version of a Pamela, remember, sometimes the best revenge is just knowing the law better than they do.